Hello and welcome to Huckerbys Boots. It's the second video podcast. As usual, Dan.
Hello.
And Jimmy.
Hello.
And we've got a special guest today. Is he special? Special needs. Special, all right?
Special needs.
See if you can guess who we're talking about. Special needs guest.
Norwich City Football Club are going to hell.
All right. What are we doing about this? Are we
Well,
are we worried? Are we concerned?
We are concerned. I mean, Grant Holt was that concerned. He posted it on his Twitter, didn't he?
I'm sure you all know what we're talking about, but we'll have a little look for those who don't know. I'm sure you all do.
The pervert club in Norfolk is accused of employing pervert players and pervert managers and pervert board members, and especially a pervert player known as Holt. The dirty scumbag Holt dives in the box, asking for penalties when he's a dying toe wag cheater. I am fed up of all these cheaters. Grant Holt of Norwich City, you are going to hell with Norwich City. And
We had enough of that.
Oh,
So we're going to play the whole thing for the fans. I'm sure you've all seen it
you
anyway.
can take all your fans with you too. As in the Bible said, those that cheat will be punished by God.
Got American then, didn't
God.
you? My God!
Okay. In the Bible, it says, cheaters and crooks and gays
Quote. That's a quote, that is.
punished by God.
That's a quote.
from the Bible.
Oh, God.
Go to hell. So what I'm trying to say, Norwich City Football Club, you are nothing but cheats, crooks, and fags.
Yeah, indeed, fact.
I'm going to say this to you, Grant Holt. You have cheated for the last time. God is
No,
coming
American
to
again.
get you.
God.
Thank you, Delia Smith.
What's she done?
Can't run, can you? Norwich City Football Club, you're going to hell.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen. He's obviously a religious man, isn't he?
He's obviously a retard.
Something I'd like to point out is, doesn't he sound like an extra from South Park?
I thought it was. I thought it was Stephen Hawking.
I don't know what he is. He's
Ipswich
clearly
Town,
got
Archers.
some kind of mental malfunction.
Big clap. Come on, friend.
Anyway, what do we think of that?
Well, he's embarrassed himself, and I think he's embarrassed his football club, hasn't he, to be honest?
You tell you what, I'll embarrass you. Do you realise that I'm paying your tax to have your stupid, crappy Ipswich Town memorabilia in your bedroom, mate? So if I were you, I'd shut the effing hell
He
up.
might have a job, Jimmy.
I doubt it. He's
I
from
doubt it
Ipswich.
very much.
He might have a job.
I doubt it very much.
Let's be nice to people because we're not like him, are we? We're not going to say Ipswich Town again.
And no one's like him, I don't think.
Because Ipswich Town's already in now.
Maybe.
Exactly, yes, yeah.
Anyway, going to hell. We've been on Twitter all week,
Yeah.
as has Michael Nelson retiring from
International
duty. Thanks to Holtby in that one.
Yeah.
He's actually put a little picture of Nelson, I think, on his Twitter with an England shirt and some kind of mullet haircut.
Yeah.
Looking good.
Looking good.
But
Who
no,
was he on international duty with?
No one.
He paid for anyone.
It was it's funny, Jimmy.
Oh, I see. I was Mr. Booth on that one.
It took me all day to realise it was a joke.
Yeah. It didn't take me all day
I
because
didn't
I
know.
realised that he'd never played for anyone, he
Yeah.
never will.
I didn't pay much attention to it at the time. But anyway, going to hell. We had enough of him.
I think we've had enough. We just had to do it. Basically, he's just a tard, isn't he?
So it's like Harry Potter on testosterone override. He's an idiot. Go to hell yourself.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Shall we talk about Norwich?
Let's talk about Norwich.
Welcome again to the Huckerbys Boots podcast. We started with a retard from down the road. Not literally. He's not that close to me. He's an absolute retard. I mean, but have we got fans? Have we got fans like that?
I expect we have. I expect there are some people that sit in the river end with me and Jimmy, especially this woman that dresses up in about 20 layers. She wears a fleece, a coat on top of it, a duffel coat on top of that,
Right.
a hat, and then her Norwich shirt on top of all of that.
It's cold.
It's not, she wears it in the summer.
Right.
So,
That is weird.
yeah, we have got some weird fans, but I think that's just something about being from East Anglia, isn't it? Fortunately, we haven't got the East Anglian gene that, these people
We have got.
What?
We've got the Kenny twins.
We've got the Kenny twins.
One of them.
No. We'll bring that up in another part of him, that he's converted. Ipswich Kenny, he is now called.
Who's the other one? They're both called Kenny.
Well, he is converted because apparently some woman in the club shop had a go at him about his season ticket. So he threw it back at her, and now he supports Ipswich.
So they're both supporting Ipswich.
Yeah, so they're
Norwich.
not as funny anymore.
What a wally.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
So we'll have a look at Ipswich Kenny, and we'll talk about him later.
Not related to Michael Kenny, is it?
He's not. His name's Kenny.
His first name is Kenny.
I see.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Norwich.
Trying to get that off because I'm just distracted by the iPad. Right, what happened yesterday? 0-0. What is going on with Palace? We can't beat them. We can't score against them. Well, we've got one at home, but we're
Just a
weren't
bogey
we in
team.
the Premiership. We were 3-0 up
Yeah.
years ago.
Andy
then
Johnson.
They came back and we drew 3-all.
Yeah.
If
I
we'd
think
won
it's-
that game, we'd have probably stayed up.
It's just our bogey team, isn't it? It's like Coventry were for years. We've won at Highfield Road a couple of times now. But I think Palace have taken on that mantle. Every club has a bogey team, don't they, that you just don't perform against for some reason. And Palace are us.
I think that obviously Palace.
Palace are us.
Palace are
A
us.
bit us.
They are the hell.
Our end of the championship.
Yeah.
Yes, well, that's the thing. They are in trouble and they're fighting for their lives, and by all accounts, they play very well. So,
Should we talk about Jimmy's shaving rash again?
Again.
Well,
There's no way you're not taught to shave? Or how to shave?
I've just been badly cut up by the
You've been,
tribunals.
it's fine. You fought with a cat.
No, badly cut up.
Okay.
It hurts.
Well, do apologise, viewers, for Jimmy's face. We're looking alright. Well, I am.
Well, I
He is.
Yeah.
Jimmy's looks like he's been 2 rounds with the next door neighbour's cat.
Yes, I know.
Anyway,
I think we did well to get a point at Palace.
puts a second, doesn't it?
It was a second.
We'll talk about second a little bit.
Yeah.
But away form is looking good, even though it's a point. We've got a result away again.
Yeah.
So I
How many
think
games we've lost 2 games away or so.
two.
One in the
Yeah,
last 14 games home and away put together.
Fantastic.
That's very, very impressive.
That is promotion form, isn't it?
Oh, it's the
That is.
old mantra of win your away games and draw your home games.
Yeah,
We're going to be promoted on that,
obviously,
on that kind of sport. I mean, but the away form is fantastic compared to how it used to be. And I think it's because the way we play is more suited to going away, and it's the reason why we're not doing well at home, because we attack at home, and teams will just come to Counter Road and shut up shop.
Yeah.
And we, because they know they're not going to win the battle.
Yeah.
So every team that comes now has the same game plan, and
They
that's
play
defend
4-5-1.
and counter attack.
Yeah.
You've noticed that.
Yeah.
A good example, of course, was the Portsmouth game.
Yeah.
They came
Popped
for a
it,
draw and they played very well.
Yeah.
They got the win because they showed
Leeds,
press.
Cardiff,
Yeah.
QPR all play the same. Maybe not QPR, they try to play a bit, but every other team is defending and trying to counter attack. But away, our actual tactics work spot on because the home team has to come out. They can't sit and defend because the crowd get on the back.
Yeah.
That's why we're so successful away from home. Maybe not as much at home because teams are knowing how to play against us.
Yeah.
Shutting up shop and hitting on the break.
I think a lot of it has to do, of course, is the travel factor. You've got to travel a lot from being in Norwich. 23 games a long distance to anywhere, and that does have an influence as well. But in this case, though, they seem to actually thrive on that, actually playing very well away from home. It's sort of like a complete tautology and a polar opposite.
Complete what?
Tautology. But the
Big
thing
word,
is,
Jimmy. No,
Yes,
that's
big word.
I'll let that one go.
A contradiction. But the thing is, though, is that Norwich are playing very well away from home, and the way they're playing at the moment, I really do think that they will go up automatically. The way they're playing, they will do it. I really do think they can.
I thought we would win the league, but I think QPR are strong. I think last season Leeds weren't as strong as QPR are this. We caught Leeds, and rightly so. QPR, I don't know, we didn't catch them, have we?
I think the team.
Well, they're catchable,
Yeah.
obviously, but
Leeds
Leeds
were further ahead this time last year
Yeah.
than QPR
But the
are
gap,
now,
I mean,
aren't
Is there a gap between Norwich and QPR? I don't think there is.
Well, QPR only drew it as well themselves yesterday.
Yeah, so it's
It's
5
a
points.
5 point difference.
Yeah.
And how far, you think before Christmas last year, Leeds were 12 points clear? Okay. And we clawed that back. Admittedly, Leeds have a wobble every year. I think Cardiff are going to have to wobble this year.
The key thing is that we've played QPR, we've played Cardiff, we've got them out of the way. You know, we should.
This is
have
the
a better
thing.
run.
We have played a lot of the top kind of half of the table sides
Yeah.
now. You know,
We did, if I remember back to a podcast we'd done maybe November time, I think we said that up until that point we hadn't had a good record.
You're speaking like him now.
We didn't have a good record against the top sides, did we?
no.
God. Not Ipswich Town, you are going to hell.
If you're not already there.
What's that? Is that your Norfolk accent?
That's the Irish accent.
Irish,
Irish,
like you're from
Irish.
Somerset.
Catholicism, you're going to hell.
What was I saying? Yeah, we said that the way for the record against top side or the division's top sides maybe not as good, and then we went on a bit of a run against top sides, and we got results.
Yeah.
And then we're now second because of it.
Yeah.
So there's no reason. I mean, there's no reason why we can't win the league.
Well, certainly two of the games we've got, we've still got Bristol City and Portsmouth to go, my other two clubs, and they're 17th and 18th. You thought you'd get at least 4 points out of 6 from those.
My other two clubs.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you've got those 2 games to come at some point. You know, we've got past at least 2 of the competitors at the top.
Bristol City and Portsmouth.
No, Cardiff and QPR. We've got past them, they're out of the way, so therefore we should have a technically better end to the season, as it were, coming up. So I think Norwich really can do it.
So, well, let's have time for a little break. In part 2, we're going to be talking about a couple of the players, Lansbury, Crofty, potential new signings of which there still haven't been any, really, apart from Lansbury. The loans going out, Gillespie, Johnson, and OTJ. Who else is there? No one else went out.
No announcement.
Anyway, join us for part 2, and there'll be much more to come.